speaking of mind, body, spirit, and all that,
Well, you know
and,
what?
and BS, by the way, we got a
What?
bone to pick with this guy, RFK. Yeah, so RFK brings psychedelics to the GOP. So let's take a look at this guy. RFK says psychedelic drugs like MDMA, psilocybin mushrooms, and ibogaine are increasingly being explored as potential treatments for mental health conditions such as PTSD, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, and substance use disorders. This shift has gained further traction under the new Trump administration, where Robert F. Kennedy has been appointed Secretary of HHS. Kennedy publicly accused FDA of suppressing promising treatments and has vowed to reform the agency, including the use of AI to accelerate drug approvals and bypass traditional safety trials. So I don't like RFK right now because he promised a lot of things, hasn't done a lot of things yet. I can't really name too much he's done, but I'm all on board with this. I think that these things are great, and I think that they could accomplish all these things. Amy, hit it.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to do something that I have not really done on any of these shows, and that's share something personal. I always try to keep the things I bring, to the audience very distinctly different from my personal life. So I try to not use too many personal examples. But I am so for this, and I can say that psilocybin and psychedelics is one of the reasons that I am a healthy, functional human being. When I was 3 years old, my dad passed away, and it was very unexpected. And I became nonverbal after that. I was a very talkative kid. I literally could name every single dinosaur by the time I was 3, just before my dad died. So very talkative kid. I went completely nonverbal after his passing. And during that time, I guess, you can only speculate, but that's when I developed extremely debilitating OCD that has given me so much grief throughout my life. And it's not like OCD in like a cute, everything needs to be clean kind of way. It's like stuff that wrecks you mentally, where you need to perform rituals, or you're concerned that like you won't be safe, you'll get sick, or your family won't be safe. Like the insane exaggerations that you guys see, like needing to go back and check a door, make sure it's locked like 5-6 times. It's been me most of my life, like as a kid, as a teenager, and then in my 20s, one thing that has, if I'm to draw it up to anything, plant medicine is what has helped me become a normal, functioning human being. Psilocybin is incredible because what happens is it encourages neuroplasticity in the brain. As people get older, they lose the elasticity, the neuroplasticity, the ability to break neural connections and form new ones. And that's why there's that saying that people get stuck in their ways. That's why you can't change somebody's mind, specifically when they're older. They're stuck in their ways. Their brain literally is stuck. It's not elastic.
It's like
right?
the snow analogy. You know the snow analogy with like if you're sledding down a mountain, it like eventually like has like a path that the sled goes down. Right, so like you end up going down that path, even no matter where you start. But if you like clean sweep it, that's like what the drug does. It clean sweeps it, so you're not like carved into that path.
Yeah, exactly. There's a word for it, synaptic, I think, functions in your brain. So what's cool about microdosing specifically, you don't need to take a full-on trip, a full-on shroom journey or anything like that. You can microdose. It's 1/10 of a gram. And over time, it will actually change the neural pathways in your brains. Very different to things like SSRIs, right? Which are only masking an emotion. It is creating a fake chemical reaction in your brain that tells you that you're feeling better. But when you stop taking that drug, you're going to be in exactly the same position, or potentially a worse off position, as is the case that we've seen many a time with some of the crazy things that happen. A lot of the people who carry out atrocities are on SSRIs.
Yeah.
Whereas psilocybin, mushrooms, and ibogaine, the other one you mentioned, which is the West African root, it actually changes your synapses, your neural pathways in your brain, so that when you stop taking them, you are a better, more functional person. Right? As long as you're intentional with your use in them. And for me, I can speak confidently on this. It's been one of the biggest game changers for
It
me.
does affect everybody differently, though. Like the Liver King guy.
This is because you sound very confident. This is not medical advice. Please talk to your doctor.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
This is all allegedly. This
Yeah.
is your own experience.
That's why I said it affects everybody differently. Like Liver King got screwed up by it. So yeah, people have had positive and negative experiences with it. But it is dirty and vile, though, that the way they do the drug scheduling right now, where they have what is it? Like the painkiller stuff. Is it Vicodin or the one that what's the one that was super addictive that they put on the
Oxycontin.
Yeah, they put
I had a friend
Oxycontin
died of it.
yeah, exactly. Like millions of people have died of that, but they put it as a Schedule 1, I think, like where it's like safe and used for medical treatment. But this one, is it even on there? Is it like Schedule 3?
Yeah, no, psilocybin is high up. It's still quite illegal in most places. Ibogaine got put down to a Schedule. Wait, is it the opposite? Is Schedule 1 the worst?
Schedule 1's for medical use, then Schedule 3 is for it doesn't have a medical application.
Are you guys sure about this?
I thought it was the inverse, which is why I asked. But either way. But yeah, so it is very illegal in many places still. So I mean, this is what he's trying to bring a change for. Like things like ayahuasca, for example. Screw that. That shit looks terrifying to me. I don't know if you guys have seen
you had it backwards. It's Schedule 1.
That's what I
are
thought.
things that are high probability for abuse. According to federal law, no prescriptions may be written for Schedule 1 substances, and they are not readily available for clinical use.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Schedule 3 is ones that can be prescribed.
And they kind of have it as like the inverse of what you would expect it to be, where like they say Vicodin is like safe or not Vicodin. What did we just say? Oxycontin. They call it like has a medical application, not super addictive. And then they have stuff like psilocybin that's super addictive, but not a medical application.
They used to prescribe Oxycontin when it first came out for headaches.
Yeah.
Right.
They rolled them out. They rolled out the drug in mining towns where people were prone to have chronic injuries to get people hooked on it. The Sackler family and Purdue Pharma just had to pay was it like the largest pharma settlement in history?
Because the allegedly lobbied the head of the FDA to put non-addictive on the side of the bottle.
That is unbelievable. Well, but people that fall for it, it's just like I don't know.
Well, you break your leg, you start taking this stuff,
Well,
and you're
that's
screwed.
how my friend got screwed. He was an all-time baseball guy. He got a shoulder injury. They gave him 2 or 3 to start with. Then there was like, oh, it still hurts, 5, 6, 7, until he couldn't afford it anymore. Went down to the heroin path, and then the bump gone in 6 months.
I mean, all of that is so different to this, and that's why I'm even skeptical.
This one though, people say they fixed their drug addiction. With
Oh,
this
ayahuasca.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to throw up this joke from Landshark, who's one of the all-time posters on X. He's hilarious if you can find his old tweets. It's talking about ayahuasca and like how all these drug trips that people will go on. They will go down to South America and take the vision quest in a sweat lodge or something. Ayahuasca is insane because it appears to be one of the most legitimately dangerous drugs with the potential to gigafry your brain, but is exclusively taken by literal turbo normies who unironically want to heal internalized racism trauma and basically get one-shotted by it. Literally having the most spiritually inept people in existence have their little lib brains rearranged by some Mesoamerican 6D demon who makes them quit their email job, divorce their boyfriend, girlfriend, and become a traveling circus stripper or whatever.
So you guys are against this stuff.
I am... So it's really hard to follow up a story like what Amy just told. And
I'm against this.
Take the anti-psychedelic.
I will tear you apart.
I think there are...
I'm for it.
Reasonable applications of these things because, not to give the weed people any sort of credibility.
They're the worst.
But they're like,
stop
oh,
it.
it's natural, bro. Like, okay, it does occur naturally. The mushrooms and marijuana as well.
So does hemlock.
If there was an application that can be helpful for people, then it would behoove the pharmaceutical industry to research it.
No, it
At the
wouldn't.
okay. It would be good if they were good people, but we know the pharma industry is terrible,
Yeah.
so of course they would suppress stuff like this.
Right.
But somewhere along the line, you cross over from this might be helpful with neuroplasticity and people recovering from things into, guys just take shrooms and go live a lifetime on another planet.
Yeah.
Come back and 20 minutes have passed and suddenly their brain has rewritten itself.
You know who's on a bunch of shrooms is almost all of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Good for them.
And
look
look
what
Elon
they've
Musk is on
deserve it.
ketamine
They
and Joe
deserve
Rogan
it.
is on
But
DMT.
Can I make a point
Yeah, so
here?
why are you trying to play the police for everybody?
Brandon, I went to school in California. I was a 100-pound slider.
you're certified?
Yeah, no, I was a 100-pound slider. I used to surf everywhere. I will go to all the surf beaches, up and down from San Diego all the way to and I will get a big sample size of a lot of guys that experimented heavily. Like there was back in those days, 20 years ago, there was a lot of hippies that were still around that did all this psychoactive things, and they're all retarded and they're losers.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't
That's
think
your opinion.
No, it's not. They're literally
It can
twitching.
kill your
saying,
brain.
You're
No,
saying
it
you
can.
can't take drugs and also be smart and productive?
No, you can't.
Why does people in Silicon Valley do it then?
Because
No, I think
they're beyond smart and productive. Once they get to the head of the company, they don't need to be smart and
No, but
productive.
they were
the
doing it to get to
low-level
that
people.
point. They were doing it to get to that point. They
microdose.
didn't just start doing it when they became successful.
I don't think there's any upsides to these things. Like what I've seen with my own eyes.
You ever see the map of the brain on and off of it?
You are aware that, for example, microdosing, taking 1/10 of a gram, there's no visual hallucination whatsoever. There's literally, you don't even notice.
I know it's
difference.
rich that I say this. What about sun and exercise? Like people need to get outside their house. They need to find a girlfriend and they need to start being normal. All right. Okay, why can't you guys just be normal for a little bit?
You know, they say the burning bush was one of these things, right? The vision that the guy had in with the burning bush was from one of these.
Brandon, weed smokers. I never had a weed smoking friend. Never.
Ooh,
Never.
okay.
There's a great comment here. Taking shrooms with no plan or guide is like taking steroids and not working out. Exactly. It matters the intention and the manner in which you utilize it. Shout out to you, SR. That was a really good comment.
Yeah, because he agrees with you. That's why you shout it.
No,
I
but that
take
is
away your shout
no,
out.
but do you not see that? Do you not see how that logic tracks? It's like taking steroids and not going to the gym. If you don't have a plan in place to actually use it for medicinal purposes to become a healthier, more functional human being, right? If you don't have a plan in place, then
But
you're going to
steroids
go
are
where
I
the
don't want to
wind
get
takes
personal,
you.
but I
Steroids
know
are
a lot of
terrible
people.
for you.
No, I don't want to get personal, but I know a lot of people that start using it as a crutch immediately. Like, oh, I'm so stressed. I want to go smoke a joint. Oh, I woke up in the morning. I really want to drink my coffee. I want to smoke a joint. I'm not feeling it very well.
You
I
can say
have
that
a
about
stomach-
anything.
Dude, you
You can say it
literally
about
consume
food, video
300
games.
grams of caffeine in one water beverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why-
So that's a drug.
And so why are we policing which things people get to be addicted to?
Because caffeine and nicotine builds cities. All
Yeah,
right?
and
we have never-
psilocybin built Silicon
Brandon,
Valley.
Brandon,
Oh,
there's no society worth living in that was built on psychobilin and weed. There's none
right,
of
take
them.
away-
Dude,
take
Elon
away your
could literally
Xbox, take away your
populate Mars.
TV.
He
They're
could literally
they're
populate
making
Mars, and
everything-
he's one of the
they're
biggest
making- they're making
advocates for
everything
these
worse.
things.
Come on.
Okay.
What do you mean? Do you use Google? Do you use your Xbox?
I will agree on the weed front because I cannot stand marijuana. Any sort of quasi-libertarian position I used to have on the legalization of weed way back in my younger days of politics, I have completely reversed on because now everything reeks of weed. Take it from the guy who's always the sober one at the function who doesn't smoke the joint when it gets passed around. It makes everybody dumber, and because their brains are reduced to that level, suddenly they think the dumb things they say
Yes,
are
they're smart.
But I will agree that there are possible medical applications for things like mushrooms, for things like THC.
Yeah.
Like these, if there is a medical application, and that goes back to what we were talking about with AI integration into people's bodies. If it's able to have a medical application that is restoring normal base level human functioning, that is great. But when it gets to consciousness expansion and if you take this, you'll feel like you're astral projecting for 50 years and then you return to your body and moments have passed. Like that is opening up your brain to things that I don't think should be unlocked.
I agree with that.
It's unlocking a door that there's nothing behind there that is worth
And that's why
seeing.
people
It's
go
different for
insane when
everybody.
they take
It's
like
different.
ayahuasca. Like you could come out of it. It's literally like rolling the dice. It's like a game of Russian roulette. You can either come out and all your addictions will be gone and you're a great person, or you could be totally insane and mentally deranged for the rest of your
People
life.
take ayahuasca and they report seeing otherworldly entities while they're on their
demons
trip.
and stuff.
Yeah, come down off of it, and they
multiple
report
people-
seeing them decades later.
Multiple people see the same things too, so they're tapping into a different realm supposedly. But I think it's bullshit that stuff like OxyContin's legal in the same world that this stuff's illegal.
Yeah, I agree.
think legalize every single thing because even when you do make bad
Ooh, I
things
don't know
illegal,
about that.
even when you make bad things illegal, you create criminal networks. Like when alcohol was illegal, that's when the mafia got
I mean, look
powerful.
at Portland, Brandon. No. We can take a look at Portland and see that doesn't work. They legalize all drugs in Portland, Oregon, and that city went to shit.
Because they allow loitering and homeless people. I think loitering should be illegal. Homeless people should not be allowed to be posted up
So
on the
you
street.
think it's because of that? Those two variables is what caused what we see in Portland.
Think about all the negative
Nothing to
effects
do-
on the
nothing to do
hardworking
with the
go-getter
drugs.
heroin addicts.
No, I think it has to do with the drugs. But if you didn't let people loiter and sit around outside and just get up to
Brandon, if you
shenanigans
take
outside,
heroin, you're gonna be loitering.
You ever tried to move?
why do you go right to heroin?
Try to move a fentanyl addict?
or if you're smoking,
Yeah,
weed,
they would die if you overdose on fentanyl. You die. Whatever. It's evolution, survival of the
Why
fittest.
can't we just go back to cigarettes? All right, let's go back to cigarettes, whiskey.
I agree
No,
that
stop trying to be the addiction police, though.
I agree.
all you do
It's
when you
ridiculous that we have OxyContin legal and mushrooms and weed aren't.
yeah.
So isn't that just a case for make OxyContin illegal alongside the
No, 'cause
mushrooms
then
and weed?
a giant criminal network will
Now,
form from
if-
selling
now-
OxyContin.
now if
Bigger than the Sackler family.
Now, if we're
a
really-
criminal network bigger than Purdue Pharma that will control governments to make their product legal.
Same
Then-
ballpark.
We have argued about this before, but like when you make something legal, you get more of it. When you outlaw it, if you actually effectively outlaw it, and I know you're about to go to prohibition. Prohibition created
And
the mafia.
anything.
Yes.
I mean, we created the cartel.
But that is because it was not actually enforced. The reason the laws against marijuana have
Glad you're
not
saying this.
thoroughly stomped out marijuana usage is because for like 50 years, you've been able to get away with weed. Like there's no enforcement on marijuana.
I'm sorry, but you walked right into my trap. So, I mean, the reason that...
You're a host. You're supposed to be getting the conversation, not setting traps, Brandon.
well,
love it.
it just came
I think
to
you've
me.
done a great job of hosting, by the way.
Thank you. And we're about to wrap up, but I just want to make this point. So, I mean, the reason it hasn't
we're
been
late already.
effectively enforced is because the biggest profiteers of the illegal drug sale is the richest people in the world that we don't know about. That's a fact. The DEA is a crock of shit. They arrest like 10% of all the drugs that go through there. So there's no real effort to try and outlaw drugs or stop them from entering the country. The CIA pays for a lot of stuff it does by letting drugs enter the country. You know, there was no cocaine in America before the 80s, before they started trying to find ways to send guns to countries they weren't allowed to send guns to. So, you know, if we're going to have that conversation of enforce it, you have to have that conversation too, because it's not going to be enforced if we have stuff like that going on.